Hey, welcome to Conversations with my dear friend, Jeff Conway. My name is Susan. This is A Different Kind of Walk.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. So this has been a really interesting journey for Susan and I just enjoyed every moment of it. Susan isn't doing the introduction and the farewell part of this podcast because she's making fun of me by having problems with her voice. She's sick today, but for our official last episode, we are going to reminisce about the work we've done over the past 4 years. Included will be clips of past interviews, so anytime you hear music in the background, you'll know it's one of those. And all the extra music you hear is courtesy of David Benjamin Blower, who we interviewed in 2022. So enjoy.
Hey, friend.
Good morning. So when it says this is being recorded and I have to hit OK, is that like if I got arrested and they told me that they were recording what I said and everything could be used against me?
Yes, you have the right to remain silent in our podcast, Jeff.
Oh, Patty is shoveling the driveway right now in the back. So I'm feeling bad that I can't shovel because I know this snow has got to be a heavy snowfall.
Yeah.
Um, so going along with our last interview,
hmm
you did not shovel your sidewalk at home, or you would have
Oh,
mile.
we didn't have a sidewalk.
Yeah, that's what I was
Yeah.
just thinking. So,
No, there's definitely a concern. And even now, with my mom living there by herself, there's snow removal is definitely a concern. And how are you going to do that? And like, we have really big tractors that can completely dig out like our mile-long driveway. But my dad always did it. And
yeah,
they are very large tractors. And my mom's not necessarily comfortable doing
yeah,
that.
you
Yeah.
bet.
Yeah,
Uh,
so my brother-in-law has been encouraging my mom for the past couple years to get a small tractor that she would be comfortable using.
uh,
Um, but I think the arrangement we've come up with is she does have like a side by side, which is essentially like a really strong golf cart. Um, and you can get blades to go on the front of those.
okay. Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I think that's where we're at right now.
Yeah. So there's another name for that.
Yeah, it's kind of like an ATV,
Yeah.
but
Because
it's
I know what you're talking about. It's not
yeah.
an ATV. It's,
Yeah, so it's like if you can combine an ATV, like the power of an ATV, but make
right.
it look kind of like a golf cart with the
Yeah.
roof and everything, like that's what you get. And it's actually kind of powerful and
Not a gopher. Uh,
I mean they just call it the side by
uh,
side. I don't know what it's called.
oh, well, listen, folks. This is our last time doing this. Susan and I will keep in touch and still talk, but we have a prize of 17 cents if you want to write in and tell us what a improved powered golf cart name is. You should put that in there because it'd be funny if people, right?
Yeah, well, if anyone at home, even my mom, if anyone from home heard this, they'd be like, "You dummy."
Yeah, it's right
It's right
here.
here.
Oh, So happy celebration of all that you have done for these years, not helping, doing all the work, getting folks that we've been talking to and doing such a great job editing. Yeah, it's been a wonderful experience.
Oh, thank you.
And yes, you continue to be a gift to me. I thank you for that. I'm curious, and I know it's over the years, and if you want to take a break and think about it for a second, but what one or two podcasts were most memorable to you?
Okay, so like the most recent time I drove back to my mom's place, I had like a 4 hour drive. And I put on some of our old episodes, and
Uh,
the ones that I went to were Claire Foster Gilbert, for sure,
yeah.
the director of the Westminster Abbey Institute in London. I would love to check in with her again, see how she's doing, what she's up to.
Yes.
So I heard you in one interview, and you spoke so eloquently about this source of life running through you. Your blood was also the source of the disease intermingled there.
Yes.
That overwhelmed me when you shared that. And I was trying to translate what you spoke to my body, and I wasn't quite getting it.
Well, first of all, huge love for you and well-wishing for you. I think this is very much my realization with the cancer myself, was how material Christianity is. The word became flesh. God became flesh. And so we are speaking of matters of the spirit, but they are embodied. And with a body comes many things: much joy, delight, dancing, hugs, but also pain. And I feel the pain, and Christ is not absent from that pain. In that pain, with that pain, through that pain is Christ. I don't know what that means, but that's my intentional feeling. It is not a bad thing to push away. It's a thing to breathe in, receive, accept, agree to. And maybe with that comes a physical relaxation. I think it's a enlightenment mindset. It's a industrial revolution mindset that we push the bad things away from us. We cut them out, and that's not what Christianity says. I'm not saying we should look for suffering. God knows we get enough of it. We don't have to look for it. It comes. It just comes to all of us. But in accepting it, in saying yes to it, rather than trying to push it away, you go to a deeper place, and Christ takes you by the hand and takes you to a deeper place.
Right.
He went there himself.
Very much so.
Alone. You're not alone. I'm teaching my grandmother to suck eggs here, Jeff.
But yeah, so she's definitely at the top of the list. And another one that I listened to was Daniel Nairi, the publisher in New York who was a child refugee from Iran. So that was a fantastic episode. Just good people, such a
Not
good
just
conversation.
publisher, but he wrote, what was the book that he wrote that we particularly talked about in that?
The book we talked about for that episode was Everything Sad is Untrue,
Ah,
which is such a good book. Oh my gosh, such a good book. Right out of the gate, your name wasn't always Daniel. Can you tell us what it was?
Sure. Well, it's funny. One of the best reviews I ever got for the book said the first word on Daniel Nayeri's new book cover is a lie. His name is not actually Daniel. I was like, yeah, it's true. My name is Khosrow, which is what I was named at birth. But when we started to come to the West, we realized that the ch sound and the r sound are pretty difficult, especially all at once. And so we were advised by our immigration officer that I would need an alias. And interestingly, the paperwork was kind of convoluted. So they were like, you don't need to fill out any paperwork. Just tell everybody your name's Daniel. So to this day, Daniel is officially an alias of mine and not a on paper name. That said, of course, all my credentials and things like that have the D initial in there so that I can make sense to people and be Daniel.
There you go. In your book, you talk about when that happened, and essentially your mom just kind of started calling you Daniel without actually talking to you about it. Again, you talk about it in the book so people can read it, but how did that feel to you? How old were you? What was that like?
I remember it extremely vividly in the sense that we were in UAE. We were in a small apartment. I was watching, so the TV in the UAE pulls a lot of channels from Japan. So I was watching a animated action cartoon of a little boy, and he's like running around with his robot. And all of a sudden, my mom is making lunch, and she just goes, "Daniel, it's time for lunch." And it's the same tone and cadence as I'm used to, but not the right name. And so I was 6 years old, so I didn't even pay attention. Like I was watching the show, and she just kept repeating herself until finally my sister goes, "She's talking to you." So I turn around. I didn't know what I think this like wave of confusion hit over me because she was looking at me but saying the wrong name, and I took it very personally. I was a very sensitive little kid. And so my eyes just started welling up and I started crying, and there's no place to go in this like extremely small apartment. So I ran under the bed and wouldn't come out until we had a giant conversation about it. And then she explained everything, and I understood, but it was one of those misses on my mom's. My parents all know, sometimes you'll try something and you'll be like, oh, that was not good.
And
I loved that. I loved him. I agree with you. There was a lot of curiosity in my heart as we spoke with him. We're lining up. You're taking away my favorites.
Oh no, I'm so sorry. Well, I'll tell you a couple more, and I don't have to talk about them, but I'll another one of my favorites was David Benjamin Blower, and then also your friends in Ireland, Debs, and then her friend Joe McEwen.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was talking about the Protestant Catholic divide, and when they first met each other, that they were sizing each other up, just, who is this person? What are they like? And all that before they even really talked to each other. So, yeah.
So why don't you and Debs talk and tell us how you met each other and how you grew with each other?
Debs, I can't remember.
So there's this organization called YouthLink that Joe now works for, so that they were kind of radical in the early 90s because it was like a partnership between the four main churches: Methodist, Presbyterian, Church of Ireland, which is kind of like Episcopalian, and Catholic Church. So one of the things that they offered for youth workers was training in what we would call community relations work, which is kind of like, I suppose, anti-sectarianism work. I definitely have a very, quite a vivid memory of being in a hotel room somewhere in Belfast with a bunch of people. There was maybe about 10 of us at the most, doing this course and meeting Joe for the first time. And Joe just being himself and very open and saying, I'm a Catholic nationalist. And up until that point, I had never had any meaningful engagement with someone from the other side. And there was a part of me that probably, moved back a little bit in my seat. That made me slightly uncomfortable because this was a new situation. And what I'd grown up with was that anybody who described themselves as nationalist, well, they supported the IRA and, they wanted to bomb us out of there or, whatever. So all the myths and the narratives kind of like came into that. And then, at first I was thinking, oh gosh, I don't think I like this Joe fella. He's one of them. That's essentially what was going through my mind. But through that course, through the work opportunities that we were getting at that point, I came to develop and still have such a profound and deep respect for Joe, for his faith, for everything that he stands for. And we had a blast together in some of the, I remember being in, doing some work in schools and enjoyable but also deeply meaningful experiences. So that that just opened me up to a whole other world, I do not feel a sense of threat from anyone who is Catholic nationalist or whatever. And I think in the same way it applies to other kinds of divisions, that I don't feel threat. I feel much more kind of curiosity. And some of these wider issues that we've been talking about, it takes us from the micro to the macro, because if more of us have those meaningful encounters, I think we'll be less prepared to lift the brick or the bullet or whatever. So yeah.
And I build on, when Jesus met the Samaritan woman at the well. It was, I'm not saying it was like me and Deb's meeting, because it was, but that idea of dialogue at a deeper level was when me and Deb's first met, was the level people were operating at, breaking bread with one another, having meals. And Deb's was one of probably my first significant friendships with a female from the other side. But he also opened up to me the realities of maybe inclusion as a young female within the Protestant churches, where it's maybe just there's boundaries or exclusion sometimes that happens that maybe as a man that I'm not thinking about. So Deb's offered me the opportunity to experience someone who's a brilliant critical reflector. Susan and Jeff, God love you, if you ever have a beer or a cup of tea with me or coffee, I just go straight in at the deep. I'm not interested in did anyone watch something on Netflix last night. I want to know what your suffering is, what the difficult conversations, because I think that's where you discover a wee bit of humanity. I think when you enter into someone's pain or suffering, you learn about your own humanity. And if we allow human beings to encounter difference and discover their own humanity in a conversation, I think the power of conversations is what me and Deb's discovered, that there's learning, there's freedom, there's challenge, and discovery in it.
Yeah, we need to be doing that more, what Joe and Deb's did, crossing lines and talking. So I don't like saying the word anniversary because that's happy to me. But yesterday being the 13th year since Sandy Hook, and then having the thing at Brown and the thing at Bondi Beach in Australia happen, just devastating to me. That the more we can cross lines and start to communicate, the more I would hope those kind of things could get better. That sadness that's there and the joy of talking to Debs and Joe, but also when we talked to a Republican voter and a Democrat voter, we didn't necessarily put them together, but they were
Hmm.
open, that knew that people had other opinions other than why they voted and how they voted.
Hmm.
So that kind of
Yeah, so I don't know. I could look through all of the different episodes, all the different interviews we did, and certainly find nuggets of just pure joy. Just incredible stories or just wonderful people. And yeah, I would say that interviewing people in general, for me, just I can never walk away from those interviews without feeling like God showed up in that person.
right.
And I love that. I love
Yeah,
that about people in general.
right. I think that was why Claire was one of the memorable ones, just because of what she does and that she said yes to us. She was that first kind of shock that said yes to us. How she shared so openly about what she had gone through and how she was living forward at this time, not cancer free, but in remission, and how that was. But then she turned the table and started asking me questions and pushing me to pay attention to things. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, that was a pretty incredible one. So, who would you say your least favorite people were?
The people I really hated talking to. I mean, there were a couple episodes where we had Scotty Miser on as like a co-host, and they were just awful.
Uh,
Do you ever realize that you're traveling with these mental images and you don't even realize that you're holding them until someone kind of pokes at them and it's like what's really there? I realized for a minute that whenever I prayed and was looking up, I was always imagining the sky, like the roof of the sky, just kind of being arm's length away and God sort of hiding behind it. And and like I hadn't thought about it critically. It was just the like, God out there a ways. And as I was looking up at the sky and just taking these classes for the first time that were really entrenching me in the idea of how large this was, my head immediately went to, well, what if I was Superman? How high up could I go and not see God? And it's like, and I imagine, and Superman can not only fly, he can fly fast. So it's like, what if I could go everywhere and look at everything and like travel to the very limits of the universe? And realizing that at no level would there be a white bearded man in the attic waiting for me. I all of a sudden just felt this sense of sadness, just realizing that. And that wasn't the end of the journey. That wasn't the end of the exploration, but it was a growing pain, realizing that if I'm going to continue to view the universe in this way and explore the universe and the ideas in it in this way, I can either shrink the universe back down or my idea of God is going to have to expand. Something's going to have to give.
I'm sorry she said that, Scotty. So, you know me, so I mean, it's hard to say I don't like every person I've met. I just don't dislike or hate. I don't understand how people can have that emotion so quickly, but it's just the way we're wired with things. But every single person that we talked to was a joy, brought new information, even if we read their book, if they were an author about something, brought new information and just made me more curious and hopeful about the world. So no, there wasn't one time we spoke to another person that wasn't fulfilling in some way,
Mhm.
including Scotty. I know you're out there, Scotty, so don't pay attention to her at all.
Though the mountains shake, though the oceans roll, though the earth may open up and fall, though the powers gloat and malice roams the land, though the strong man lifts his bloodied hand, may we yet be still for the Prince of Peace. May we lay our crowns before his broken feet.
Well, the title that we gave this was A Different Kind of Walk, which is the same title for this goofy book I'm trying to finish. But really finding joy in the midst of pain. And so, how do you feel like we did displaying joy in the midst of pain?
Ooh. Well, okay. So here's my answer. I recently started listening to Amy Poehler's podcast, which is a riot. It's really funny. And
How could it not be? Oh my gosh.
I know. So she's a comedian. Like that's what she does. Everything is just really funny. And so my one this isn't even a critique, but one thing I noticed is that they don't talk about hard things.
Mm,
And yeah, and and
that's surprising.
yeah, or at least so far, the episodes I've listened to, they don't talk about hard things. And that's definitely something that I long for, is for people to be able to talk about hard things and things that they've gone through that are really difficult, just suffering in general, or if people are in the midst of suffering right now already, like some of those interviews that we did, the topics of those interviews were ongoing, right? Whether you have blood cancer that is incurable, or whether you're in the midst of whether you're on one side of a political or cultural debate that's going to take a really long time to work on. So I really love talking about hard things. And I feel like that is when the joy has been most highlighted. When we get to talk about those hard things and you don't despair. Um, I've been trying to in like Sunday school at our church with kids. I've been having these conversations with the fourth graders, like 10-year-olds, about, wherever you see the fruits of the Spirit in the world, you see God at work. And we had the conversation the other day about like, well, where have you seen joy in the world this week? Where have you seen maybe other people having joy, or just where have you felt joy? And it has been difficult to explain or to have a conversation kind of separating the ideas of just happiness and joy, whether joy is just this great excitement and happiness, or whether it is something deeper and something that can sustain you, that doesn't just follow your emotions and doesn't
Mm.
just follow the circumstances of your life. So yeah, it's interesting trying to have that conversation with 10-year-olds.
So I would recommend that you have them read Fear and Trembling by Kierkegaard.
Sure, for sure.
I was just thinking about him the other day. I took this class. I guess you could design a class at the University of Oregon and present it to
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
whoever you present to at a big university and see if they'd say yes, that's a class.
Mhm.
And it was certainly a Christian emphasis, which shocked me that they could have a class like that on campus at that time. But the guy had us read Kierkegaard, and I kept reading a page and totally forgetting all that he said because there was so much on each page. It was just a nightmare.
Mm.
And then years later, doing my dissertation and having Kierkegaard be a big part of that, and just that I could flip the pages and read them and understand it. Yeah,
Mhm.
boy, my brain was not developed fully until after college, that's for sure for me. So, no, what I was going to say there, and it's not because I have to be happy all the time, but in the midst of all the hard things that we talked about and shared, I didn't find any of it dark.
Mm.
And I want to be careful here how I say it. So it wasn't like we were happy, but if those of you who choose to enter the raffle for the 17 cents for the golf cart that has more power, if you could also let us know if you thought there was always something that was lifting us up, even when we were having the challenging discussions with some people. That's definitely how I feel about what we did.
Yeah.
It never felt dark to me. There was always light there in the midst, which I guess is finding joy in the midst of pain. So I feel like we did it. And that really fed me as I'm sitting in my lounge chair. What color would you call my lounge chair, Susan?
Well, from here through the screen, and you're very backlit, so it looks gray, but it might not be gray.
Oh, it is gray.
Oh, okay, good.
And I was thinking it looks brown and on my
Okay.
screen, so I didn't know what you were going to say. But yeah, I had a blue one before and that broke after a number of years. So now I'm on to the gray one. Uh, well, I will say again an enormous thank you to you for everything that you did to allow us to go on this adventure together. And this isn't a eulogy, but any last words about the experience that you would want to put on there?
Two things. For me, in general, this podcast has just been a way of essentially keeping you in my life
Mm.
because since we don't work together anymore, like there just isn't that weekly just, hey, how are you? And laughing and or talking about hard things or whatever. And I knew that I would miss that if I didn't have it at all. So I've appreciated this project. I've valued it because I get to continue to be in relationship with you and hear your voice and have you in my life. So it's really meaningful.
I
Um,
appreciate that. It's been a lovely gift for me to have you still a part of what I do, how I live, how I think. You opened up more possibilities for me. We're very different, but it's been very easy to connect with you. I don't think I'm boring and conservative, but maybe the church did turn me into that. And then I met you. And you had unique hairstyles sometimes and new tattoos to show. And it's true, generations are very different.
mhm.
But you are a gift to treasure. And you heard me say this, and I'll still bug you about it as we talk, that you are so good at this in every way and very curious about people and situations. So
Oh, thanks.
I'll bug you every now and then about finding a new partner, though the partner will not be as funny as me.
Well, so that's the second thing that I was going to say about just kind of last words, final farewells about this is just like, I don't know if I'll do anything about it or not, but I think that topic we started early on and we ended on that topic of bridging divides, whether it's the cultural divide in the United States right now, whether it is, whether it was Debs and Joe in Ireland, whether it is city versus rural, or whether it's racial, whatever it is, stories need to be told. And these divides that we have, whether it's language or whether it's race or whether it's nationality, these divides that we have to be bridged. The work needs to be done, and there's a lot of work to be done. And so if I were to continue on with a podcast of some sort, like that is the topic that is really meaningful to me because we really do have an impact on each other. And the things that keep us apart are usually so superficial and some of them are misunderstood. And I do think we can find God in each of us.
I hope we've encouraged people to look at other people a little differently from some of the interviews that we had there. Um, so finding God working in the midst of all people, as you said, that's been a joy for me also to experience that, and a joy to remind people that they're loved by God in the midst of this.
Yeah.
Thank you, thank you, thank you to everybody. Please send in your answers for a jazzed up golf cart, and should we mail them a check or should we just put the 17 cents in there?
I was going to say those 2 pennies of the 17 cents might be valuable.
They might be. Yeah.
So thank you to everybody who has gone on this journey, this different kind of walk with us. We've been really grateful and it's been really fun to hear from you over the years.
Yes.
It's been a privilege to make these sorts of things and to get to be in your lives. So thank you.
Amen. So if I can, I would like to end this in a humorous note because I'm very funny. And just ask people what's black and white and black and white and black and white and black and white and black and white.
Not black and white and red all over.
No.
Okay.
A nun rolling down a hill.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to ask the question in your brain, do you see a nun doing a log roll or a somersault when I say that?
I definitely imagine them doing a log roll, but it's way funnier imagining her. It's way funnier imagining her doing the somersault. It's just really funny.
Yeah. More people are somersault when I ask
Really?
the question. But yeah, so we're both weirdos because I'm a log roll guy also. But yeah, I could see the piece coming up with the white around it
Right.
and the long black that's there. So there you go.
Nice.
All right. Love you, love you, love you. Have a great day.
You too. Bye.
Thank you for joining us in every way. As you remember how dearly loved you are by God, a dearly loved child of God is who you are. And I invite you to live well.